Lewandowski to bid farewell to the Bundesliga, United to prioritise Pogba, Premier League clubs to battle for championship star, a transfer roundup, plus this week's Emoji Mondays, all coming up on today's OneFootball Daily News. As I'm your host Angelina Kelly, let's get into it. First up, and according to reports from Sky Sports Germany, Robert Lewandowski could be departing from Bayern Munich. So the star's current contract does not expire until 2023, but reports do state that he could depart for a market value of around €60 million. The 32-year-old is being linked with a move potentially to the Premier League, but also to Real Madrid. And this is not the first time that the player has been linked with Real Madrid. According to some reports in Spain, the club did try and sign him apparently 3 times. Now, if you roll back to the 2012-2013 season, when Dortmund beat Real Madrid 4-1, of course Lewandowski was on the score sheet and he became the first player to score 3 or more goals against Los Blancos in the Champions League. However, of course, he did go to Bayern Munich, and at the time Real Madrid did have the likes of Karim Benzema and Cristiano Ronaldo, so Florentino Perez wasn't reportedly too worried as they did have enough attacking firepower already. Despite his age, I don't need to tell you guys just how amazing this player is. He has 43 goals in 37 appearances across all competitions so far this season, and it would be a massive loss for Bayern Munich, but with Premier League clubs like Liverpool, Manchester City, Manchester United, even Chelsea all reportedly looking for strikers, could he be heading to one of these clubs? And regarding a move to Real Madrid, of course they are in the market for a goal scorer, and could Lewandowski be the type of player that could be a temporary fix to the solution? However, if they do go with him, that does mean that their hunt for the likes of Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe could be jeopardised potentially. However, Lewandowski would of course be a cheaper option than these 2 players. Personally, I'm not too sure if I can see this one happening. At the end of the day, if he was going to depart from Bayern Munich, if he was going to leave the Bundesliga, I think he would have already done it by now, as like I say, he is 32 years of age. We're not too sure how long he's going to continue performing at this high level. It could be maybe 1 or 2 years, it could be even longer, who knows, but it's not like he has to leave Bayern Munich to go and win the Champions League. You know, you hear of a lot of players that make these moves, like Barcelona, Real Madrid, because they want the Champions League, etc. Whereas Lewandowski, he's pretty much won everything he can win in Germany, and of course, like I say, he has won the Champions League. So yeah, I'm not too sure if I can see this one happening. I personally feel like he's going to stay at Bayern Munich, and his focus will strictly be on the Bundesliga and pretty much breaking every single record that there is in that league. Our next story takes us to Manchester United, where the club are reportedly ready to sit down with Paul Pogba and begin contract negotiations. And these negotiations could reportedly include a weekly salary for Pogba of around £400,000. Absolutely insane. However, if the 28-year-old does reject these negotiations, then the club, of course, are willing to sell him. Now, where he could be heading, of course, is Juventus. He's been linked with a return to the club for quite a while now. And then, of course, there is Real Madrid. Could still be an option, especially with Mino Raiola recently stating in an interview that Pogba does view Zinedine Zidane as his childhood hero, and this was one of his motivations for reportedly being interested in a move to the club previously. However, it does seem like Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are going to try and do everything they possibly can to keep Paul Pogba, and this could actually include getting rid of David De Gea in order to free up funds for the player. Now, of course, David De Gea is reportedly on around £375,000 a week for Manchester United. He is their #1 goalkeeper, but with Dean Henderson waiting in the wings, reportedly wanting to take over from the Spaniard, could Manchester United be finally bidding farewell to the keeper? The player has, of course, been at Manchester United for such a long time now, and there was a period where he was arguably their best, strongest player. However, like I say, there's Dean Henderson. He did fill in for David De Gea previously in the season, and he was really good. There wasn't that many criticisms of him. He has expressed that he really does want to take over that #1 role. So will Manchester United have to get rid of De Gea, like I say, to help fund Pogba and to keep Dean Henderson happy? It could happen. However, if they're going to get rid of David De Gea, I'm not too sure where he's going to be heading. Of course, there was that rumoured transfer with Real Madrid. They now have a goalkeeper, and most of the big clubs across Europe already have really good, competent, strong goalkeepers. So if De Gea is going to depart, I'm not too sure where he will be heading, but if this is a sacrifice that Manchester United has to make in order to keep Paul Pogba, I can understand why they're doing it. Next up, and 2 Premier League clubs are reportedly eyeing one of the Championship's brightest stars in Brentford striker Ivan Toney. So it's Leicester City and Everton who are reportedly preparing bids for the 25-year-old, who has managed in 44 appearances, 30 goals and 10 assists. Now, Spurs have also apparently been interested in the player, but according to The Athletic's Adam Leventhal, it is Leicester City and Everton, like I say, who will be ready to try and get the player once the season ends. Everton have struggled with consistency this this season. Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison have provided the Toffees with some great goals, 24 so far in the Premier League. However, if Carlo Ancelotti is serious about getting Everton to the point where they are consistently performing in Europe, he's going to need another goal scorer like Toney. Of course, they have been linked with a move for 32-year-old Sergio Aguero. However, although the player is a free agent, with him being linked with the likes of Juventus and Barcelona, who of course are always competing in the Champions League, I can't really see that the Toffees would get the player. And then of course there's Leicester City. They do need a long-term replacement for Jamie Vardy. Despite Kelechi Iheanacho's recent exploits, he's been amazing for the club so far this season. However, I do think that they would probably want another goal scorer, and with Leicester being more likely to be in the mix for Champions League football than Everton, they could perhaps have the edge over the club. The player is rated at around £30 million, and Toney is really keen apparently to impress in the top flight in the Premier League, and this also could actually help his campaign to try and get a spot in the England international side as well. He was reportedly on Jamaica's radar to go and play for their national team. However, this could actually put him more on Gareth Southgate's radar. Now, of course, it isn't apparently just Leicester and Everton that will be in the mix for the player. Even more Premier League clubs are reportedly set to join the race, and this looks like it's going to be a very interesting race indeed. And now we have our transfer roundup. This is where I take a look at some of the other news and transfers going on in the footballing world. And first up, Real Madrid. If they do sign David Alaba, he will reportedly be on a €12 million per year contract, which is the same that Sergio Ramos gets, according to Mundo Deportivo. West Ham boss David Moyes has come out and said that the club would probably not be in the mix for Tammy Abraham, as the £40 million price tag is just too expensive. Tottenham are apparently interested in an 18-year-old Brazilian winger, Rodrigo Varanda, who does play for Corinthians, and apparently initial talks have begun. And finally, AC Milan's technical director Paolo Maldini has said that they have halted all contract talks, as apparently Gianluigi Donnarumma, their goalkeeper, who has not signed a new contract with the club just yet, was apparently approached by fans outside of the training ground and was told that if he doesn't renew his contract, he should not play in AC Milan's game against Juventus. And now we have Friday feels. Of course, you guys gave us all of your predictions in the comment section in Friday's Daily News, so I'm going to read out a few of the correct ones. Now, of course, there was no game against Manchester United and Liverpool. The game was postponed due to protests from Manchester United fans about the owners of the club. So a lot of you did give some really good predictions, but obviously none of them were right just yet. First up, PL is clearly the best. Great YouTube name, I guess. They did predict correctly that Chelsea would beat Fulham 2-0. Prince Mohamed did predict correctly that Lyon would get a 3-2 victory over Monaco. And well done to Callum Mussick, who did predict correctly that Manchester City would get a 2-0 win over Crystal Palace. And last but by no means least, we have Emoji Mondays. This is where we stick a few emojis on some of the weekend's action. And first up, best player. A lot of contenders for this one, but I had to go with Kai Havertz. He does get so much stick. He gets stick for being a flop, for not performing at his best with Chelsea. So when he puts in a good performance, I do think that we should heap a little bit of praise on him. Of course, he scored 2 really great goals for Chelsea, like I say, as they beat Fulham. And it was just an impressive performance all round for him. It seems like he's finally settling into Chelsea life, especially under Thomas Tuchel. And yeah, let's just hope that he manages to finish the season on a high note. For craziest moment, I had to go with that Monaco-Lyon game. It was a lot more thrilling than my boring prediction of a draw. There was just so much action, so many brilliant goals from great goal scorers. There was actually 3 goals in 12 minutes. Yeah, just a really exciting game of football. Of course, it did get a little bit crazy as there were 5 red cards in total. Now, 4 of these red cards did come at the end of the game when the players clashed, which you don't really want to see in football at the end of the day. But yeah, all in all, a bit of a crazy game, real whirlwind, so many different things that were happening. And now, of course, this means that PSG are above Monaco in second with 4 points distance between the two clubs. So yeah, all very exciting. And for best goal, again, there were so many different contenders for this one. Of course, big shout out to Gareth Bale, who did get that great hat-trick for Spurs. But for me, I have gone with Danny Welbeck, who scored a goal for Brighton as they celebrated a victory over Leeds United. He managed to beat Leeds defenders with a great pivot and executed an amazing Cruyff turn on a dropping ball. And he, of course, secured those 3 important points for Brighton. Of course, he did used to play for Manchester United, so it's great to see a former player scoring a great goal, really. But you guys let us know in the comment section, what were your Emoji Mondays? What was your craziest moment? What was your best goal? Get involved in the comments. So that's everything for today's OneFootball Daily News. As always, check out all the other content we've got. Have a great Monday, and I will see you all later.